There is something ridiculous about AI video automation. We use AI to generate the script, the part that actually requires the most thinking. Generate 150 images automatically. Generate the voiceover automatically. And then, we spend 2 hours dragging everything around inside a video editor.
So we automated the creative work and kept the most boring part?
Pretty much. So I had to automate the boring part to spend more time on the actual work. Every image timed to the narration. Every scene assembled automatically. Final video rendered. No timeline, no dragging clips around, no manual editing. Today we are starting with a finished script and a folder of images. We will generate the voiceover with every scene timing and automatically assemble the finished video. As long as you already have a script and images, you can follow everything from here. If you want to automate how the scene images are created, that workflow is in the previous video. And later I will give you the exact Claude prompt you can use to build the rendering system yourself. But if you would rather skip the setup completely, the fully built version of this workflow is also linked below. The starting setup is simple. Your script sits inside the Google Sheet, with each scene or narration segment on its own row, and the matching images sit inside a Google Drive folder, numbered in the same order. So row 1 matches image 1, row 2 matches image 2, and so on. That gives the system everything it needs to build the final video. The first thing we need is the voiceover. You can generate it manually on the ElevenLabs website, but for automation, we need something extra: timestamps. The system needs to know exactly when each line of narration starts and ends, so it knows when to switch to the next image. So just like the image generation workflow, the Google Sheet talks directly to ElevenLabs through its API.
Oh, the coffee machine again?
Exactly. Earlier, the Sheet sent prompts to an image service and saved the finished images automatically. Now it sends the narration to ElevenLabs, receives the voiceover along with the timing data, and writes those timestamps back into the same Google Sheet. First, go to ElevenLabs and create an API key. That key is what allows your Google Sheet to talk directly to ElevenLabs without opening the website every time. Then open Claude and ask it to build the connection for you using Google Apps script. If you have never used AppScript before, think of it as a small piece of code that lives inside your Google Sheet and lets the sheet do things normal formulas cannot. It can read the narration from each row, send it to ElevenLabs, receive the voiceover and timing data, then write the results back into the sheet. You do not need to write that code yourself. Just tell Claude exactly what you want. Create a Google Apps script that reads narration from my sheet, sends it to the ElevenLabs API, generates the voiceover with timestamps, saves the audio file to Google Drive, and writes the timing data back into the correct rows. Then tell Claude which columns contain the narration and where you want the timestamps and audio link to appear. Claude writes the script. You paste it into extensions, apps script, add your ElevenLabs API key, and run it. Now we have the images, we have the voiceover, and we have the timestamps telling us exactly when each scene should appear. So think of the Google Sheet as an order for the final video. The images and voiceover are the ingredients. The timestamps are the cooking instructions telling us exactly when each ingredient needs to be used. Now we need a kitchen where everything can be assembled. That is where Google Colab comes in. Inside Colab, we create something called a notebook. Think of the notebook as the page containing the recipe that the kitchen follows. And FFmpeg is the cook. It reads the instructions and says, show image 1 for 3 seconds, then image 2 for 4 seconds, then image 3. Play the voiceover underneath and export everything as one finished MP4. That is the whole idea. Instead of us dragging 100 images around inside CapCut, the sheet provides the recipe, the Colab notebook gives us the kitchen, and FFmpeg does the cooking.
Okay, Google Colab, notebooks, FFmpeg. This is starting to sound complicated. Can I just copy yours?
Yes, I have linked the exact Claude prompt I used to build the notebook in the description. It is free. You can copy it, paste it into Claude, and have Claude generate the notebook for you. The prompt simply explains what we want the notebook to do. Connect to Google Drive. Read the images in scene order. Use the timestamps from the sheet to decide how long each image stays on screen. Add the voiceover. Then use FFmpeg to render everything into one finished MP4 and save it back to Drive. You do not need to understand how FFmpeg works internally. You are just describing the job. Claude writes the instructions for the cook. Once Claude finishes, create a new Colab notebook and paste the code in. The first time you run it, Colab will ask permission to access your Google Drive. After that, we simply tell it where the project files are. The notebook reads the scene timings from our Google Sheet, finds the matching images and voiceover in Drive, and passes everything to FFmpeg. Then hit run. No timeline. No dragging image 47 until it lines up with sentence 47. No adjusting 100 images one by one. The computer already has the instructions, so this is just assembly. A few minutes later, the finished MP4 appears back inside Google Drive. Images match to the narration, voiceover synced. Every scene is timed automatically.
YouTube is demonetizing AI slop. So, does that mean Stickman channels like this are dead? No. But here's where most people get it wrong. YouTube does not care that this is a Stickman. It does not care that AI helped create the visuals. The problem starts when the whole channel feels mass-produced. Copied ideas and thumbnails. Generic templated AI scripts. Uploading 3 times a day just because you can. That is the real risk. Because a Stickman is just a format. Slop is a decision. And when automation starts choosing what you make, you are not scaling a channel, you are scaling garbage.
The pipeline is complete. But before you copy this workflow and start generating 50 videos a month, there is one part of this system I would never automate. We will come back to that in a minute. First, let us see what the entire video actually cost. The image's cost depends on the model you choose. The script and prompt generation cost only a few cents. The voiceover is the main cost since we use high-quality ElevenLabs. And the rendering itself costs us nothing because we are using Google Colab. So a complete 6-minute Stickman video can come in at under $1. That is the real advantage of this system. It lets you experiment without every experiment becoming expensive.
So now I can just generate 50 of these, upload every day, and wait for one to go viral?
No. And this is the part I would never automate. Your judgment. Production is repetitive. That is exactly what machines are good at. But deciding what video to make, what angle to take, how the first 30 seconds should work, what thumbnail will make someone stop scrolling, those are not repetitive decisions. Do not ask ChatGPT for 50 random video ideas and blindly produce all of them. Study your own channel. Look at which topics actually get clicked. Find the outliers. Look at where viewers leave. Study what is already working in your niche. Then use your own judgment to decide what deserves to be made next. Spend the time you saved on the script, hook, topic, and thumbnail. Automation should remove the boring production work so you have more time for those decisions. It should not remove the decisions. Cheap production is not an excuse to flood YouTube with low-effort slop. It is an opportunity to spend less time producing and more time deciding what is actually worth producing. And if you want this exact workflow without building and debugging all the connections yourself, I have made the complete Google Sheet available through the link below. It connects the script, images, voiceover, timestamps, cost tracking, and render plan in one place. Also includes the Colab notebook we built in this video. One-time purchase, no monthly subscription. And once you have it, it is yours to use for as many projects as you want. The free Claude prompt for building the Colab renderer is also linked below if you would rather build that part yourself. Either way, the idea is the same. Automate the repetition, keep the judgment, and use the time you save to make the next video better.